Okay, folks are trickling in here for Startup Showdown episode 3. Gonna give people a second to join in here. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us today. We're gonna let folks trickle in a little bit, but I'm gonna get into some house rules and introduce these folks on screen with me. To get things started, I'm Jasmine Hoffman. I'm the head of experience at the New Jersey Tech Council. This is Startup Showdown, which is a series of startup pitches to a series of amazing investors here to provide startups with the opportunity to get some feedback and hopefully further their investment goals. This show is 1 hour and it is timed to a T, folks. So if you miss anything, don't worry. It's being recorded. It'll be available on njtc.org later today or tomorrow morning. What we have today is 3 5-minute pitches from 3 excellent startups, Spoonfuls, Triple, Bristle, and Waft. And we've got some awesome investors here to provide some feedback and ask some questions. If you've got questions for these startups as they're pitching, please put them in the Q&A. I'll be monitoring that, asking those questions as they come in. If you want to say hello, say hi, share where you're tuning in from, put that in the chat, interact with your fellow attendees. That being said, we're going to dive into things today. And before we do that, I would love for everyone to just quickly introduce themselves. We'll start with our investor participants today. Jim, why don't you get us started?
Sure. Thanks, Jasmine. Yeah, so Tech Council Ventures is an early stage investor, all different industries in the Mid-Atlantic region. We've been investing for about 25 years, the principals in the fund, and we have about 130 million under management, typically investing 2 to 3 million into any one opportunity.
Excellent. Thank you, Jim. Monica?
Hi. So MarketSmith is the leading provider of marketing and advertising, strategic marketing in the state, and technology driven. We're probably one of the largest women owned in the country. We host about, I think, somewhere around 5 to 8 patents around marketing technology, which we think is really important. We're really hyper-focused on visualizations of data as well as financial metrics that help understand and determine risk and reward in an optimized fashion. So we're excited to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for joining us. And our last investor of the day, Jay. I did not mean to run that, but it just happened.
Jay Body, co-founder of Brand Project Capital. We focus investments in direct-to-consumer companies, and we've been doing that since 2013. So some of our brands include Freshly, Daily Harvest, which are very popular in New York City, Plet Plate, Persona Nutrition, which we sold to Nestle last year, Chef's Plate that we sold last year as well to Rocket Internet. So we really get excited by brands that are basically bypassing traditional channels and finding direct ways to engage with the consumer.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for joining us. And we're going to move on to the startups who are pitching us today, who I'd love to just say hi as well. Heather, we'll start with you.
Hi, I'm Heather Baird, inventor and president of Spoonfuls. Spoonfuls being the genesis of my company, and it is a patented package innovation, which I'll tell you all about during my pitch.
Excellent. Thank you. Max?
I'm representing Triple Bristle. We're an oral healthcare brand undergoing explosive growth, and I'm super excited to tell you what it's all about.
Awesome. Thank you. We're excited to have you. And last but not least, we've got Ken.
Hi, I'm Kent Erdebrul. I'm the co-founder of Waft. I'm hunkered down here in Singapore, hence the dark background. Great to see you all. Hope you're all keeping safe.
Awesome. Thank you. You probably are the person joining us today from the furthest location from New Jersey. If you're coming from farther than Singapore, please chime in the chat. And as a quick note,
Exactly 12 hours.
As a quick note, Heather is going to be going first. She's our first pitch of the day. Heather, if you are able to speak a little louder or just adjust your volume, it was a little bit low. If you're able to give that a try. Without further ado, we'll get started. And please, attendees, keep an eye on all these pitches. At the end, you're going to be voting on your favorite pitch of the day. So you're going to want to make sure you're paying close attention and asking any questions that you might need in the Q&A feature. So Heather, we will kick it off to you for your pitch.
Okay. I just want to make sure that you can hear me okay. And I'm going to share my screen.
All right. You have 5 minutes. When you see me pop back on screen, it's when it's time for the investor questions.
Okay. How is the volume if I'm speaking at this level?
It's good. It's good.
Okay. All right. I do like to stand up. Okay. Hi, I'm Heather Baird, president and inventor of Spoonfuls, the all-in-one patented spoon cap. And what that is a cap with a built-in spoon utilized with spouted pouches for feeding and dosing. You may have seen these used for baby food. And that's how I got my aha moment, was at the grocery store with one hand on the shopping cart and the other hand feeding my very hungry baby. And needless to say, food was all over. It would work so much better if I had a spoon attached to it. That's how Spoonfuls literally started to take shape. Here we have a number of form factors, all with their own unique set of challenges. As we already heard, feeding directly from a spoon can be, or directly from a spout can be a messy ordeal, but it can also lead to poor eating habits. But the most serious issue stems from continuous sucking, which can lead to orthodontic issues and speech impediments. 66% of parents said that they would have reconsidered their purchase had they known of these dangers. And then when we look at a number of other packaging formats, they can often be difficult to open the caps, or the loose cap can be a choking hazard. We have expensive formats that aren't recyclable, packages that we can't get that product out of, and then also few child-safe packaging solutions. But the more serious when it comes to medicinal dispensing is confusion surrounding dosing. 40% of parents reported that they were confused by the abbreviations used for measured dosing, which led to overdoses. That's a serious mistake to make and one that can be avoided. So now that we know this, how about that spoon? Spoonfuls, the handy all-in-one package providing its very own spoon, further adding to the ergonomics and the convenience and portability of the pouch. It's easy to open and dispense with one hand. You can see the amount dispensed, so it's not so messy, and it's resealable. The spoon measures 2.5 milliliters for safe and simple dosing, and it has a number of child-resistant features added to the cap. Research is finding that it is safer to spoon feed and aids in the fundamental development of speech and oral growth in an infant. Plus, it promotes healthy eating habits by slowing down that meal. Spoonfuls is reusable and recyclable, and pouches are considered to be the most sustainable format in baby food. There is no other spoon cap on the market, and Spoonfuls is competitively priced against your generic caps and your multi-component medicinal dispensers. I also like to highlight that Spoonfuls is a safe and sterile package, and in light of the COVID crisis, consumers will be looking for safe sanitary packaging, and Spoonfuls answers that call. Packaging is the 3rd largest industry in the world, and pouches are the most innovative and fastest growing segment in packaging, with Spoonfuls having multiple applications within this space. Spoonfuls can not only be used for baby food, but it can be used for specialized nutrition. And because of that measured spoon, it can be used for nutraceuticals and over-the-counter medicines, such as cough syrups, anti-inflammatories, and immuno-boosting supplements. Spoonfuls has limitless reach in these categories, spanning all consumer types and ages, providing opportunity for new product growth and expansion. And as we see, all these markets are thriving billion-dollar industries. Spoonfuls' go-to-market strategy is to sell both cap and compatible spout at approximately a 50% margin, working business to business, manufacturers, or a 5-year period in the US spouted pouch and global baby food markets, with forecasted revenues of 70 million. Spoonfuls was issued a utility patent in 2015, and since then we filed for 3 additional patents covering new features and improvements. We recently graduated from the plug-and-play accelerator in new materials and packaging, and through that we were afforded a great deal of exposure and garnered a high degree of interest. And now we're currently conducting conversations with CPG and suppliers and working to establish strategic launch partnerships. I'm Heather Baird. I will be leading the Spoonfuls team as president. I'm an entrepreneur with 20+ years in product development and design experience. I have an acting team of advisors, both affording a wealth of knowledge in their respective fields. And I am an early stage, or Spoonfuls is an early stage startup, and we're actively seeking launch partners for proof of concept and market validation, with a capital ask of $250,000 covering the final engineering and prototyping towards our soft launch. And I can take questions, thank you, and then I'll just put up my information, so you can take it down if you're interested. Hello?
All right. Thank you for that, Heather. I'm going to start it off with Jim for any feedback and questions for you.
Yeah, so Heather, I think it's a great idea. I like the originality. I guess the questions would be, do you anticipate this is going to be more balanced initially or towards medicine versus food? And if you could talk a little bit about your digital marketing strategy.
Okay, well, first, I do have an equal amount of food and right into with a co-manufacturer who fills for the 5 big baby food brands. Additionally, I have spoken to several of these baby food brands, and they are very interested in Spoonfuls. I also have a good degree of interest in the pharmaceutical category. I'm working with two pharmaceutical companies. One is a consumer product-based company or healthcare company, and they're looking to apply Spoonfuls for the cough syrups. And then I also am working with a packaging supplier out of Canada, and they are interested in Spoonfuls not only for compounding pharmaceuticals, but cannabis application, as well as single or travel-sized dosing for cough syrups. And then, I'm sorry, what were you saying about the marketing? Digital?
Yeah, if you could just maybe elaborate a bit more about on your strategy for digital marketing.
Right now, I am working B2B. I'm really just working on developing Spoonfuls and bringing it to launch. I do have a prospective investor who would be helping me with marketing and digital media. So I'd be working with websites and promoting digitally through that as well. Does that answer your question? I'm sorry.
It sure does. Yep. Thanks so much, Heather.
Sure.
Thanks, Jim. Monica?
Hi, well, congratulations on getting this far.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. I just wanted to say that I did not think that, I think you could work a little clearer on setting up the opportunity, both short-term and long-term, in terms of the actual first is identifying the true competition. Who is the enemy that this product actually faces? What does it solve for? And then be able to understand how you would enter into that market one step at a time, because clearly the baby food market is one idea. Obviously you have a good handle on packaging, and I think that you probably didn't use that knowledge as much, because I have some curiosity about what's the actual journey that the baby food packaging market is on, where this solves that challenge, that white space. So it was my first question. Like I'm left not sure. The second is that, could you explain to me who you really believe the competition would be for you in this market? Then, because obviously I think that there's really two applications that's not really clear here. One is the baby food market, one is the pharmaceutical market, vastly different, would need different sales approaches and marketing approaches, and your website would need to be set up appropriately. So could you just walk me through who you think is the absolute first obstacle you face in competition?
Well, of course, it's caps. So Spoonfuls is a value add package, but it is replacing your caps. And caps obviously do serve no other function aside from sealing. But the true competition is in price, and having the customers really understand the value add here. When we look at this, we see generic caps range from anywhere from 1 to 3 cents, whereas Spoonfuls will be around 5 cents. We also have our multi-component medicinal dispensers, which is pharmaceutical application. So again, Spoonfuls replaces the cap, but it also replaces those dispensers, which are very costly. So there's cost savings across the board, not only with your pouch, because that saves in packaging, but also multi-component medicinal dispensers. It greatly saves that on that. And then there's also spoon tips, which consumers screw on to baby food pouches. And this is addressing that baby food category, but that's also aftermarket, and consumers are paying a lot for this. They're paying anywhere from $4 to $7 for a 2-pack. And here we have a baby food company out of Austria, which is actually providing the spoon tips to their consumers. So we know that there's consumer demand, and Spoonfuls does answer that call with an integrated delivery solution at a cost-effective price.
Okay, thank you. I would organize around that slide and jump off from there.
Okay, yep. And do you have another question? I'm sorry. Did I think you had
No, you got it.
Oh, okay.
You got it. Thank you.
Thanks. Sure.
Thank you, Monica. Jay, your feedback, any questions?
Yeah. Hey there. On the patent, what patent? I don't know if I missed or not, but what patents do you have on the product right now?
I have a utility patent for a unitary dispensing unit. There.
Got it. And at scale, where would production happen of the Spoonfuls?
Where or when? I'm sorry.
Where?
Where it would happen in New Jersey.
In New Jersey. So so you'd have a contract manufacturer ready to go over
Parts
there.
of it, actually, I should clarify that. The injection molds of the cap and spout would happen in New Jersey, whereas the actual pouch manufacturer, I'm going to be working in partnership with a pouch manufacturer, and that I believe is in Indiana.
Okay, got it. And then with these Spoonfuls, are they meant for single use, or what is the reusability of them? Like how many times can you use them?
It depends on the brand owner and how they want to put Spoonfuls out. So they can have compatible pouches throughout their product line, and Spoonfuls can be reused on their product line. So there's reusability there. I'm also looking into pouches that have a little strip, like a Ziploc at the bottom, so then the whole pouch can be cleaned and reused that way. In terms of hygienics, you can just take off the cap, and you can either put it in the dishwasher or wash it out yourself to reuse it.
But you're very much looking at this as a B2B play, so you're not going to be selling direct to consumer, I guess, right?
I have one company who's interested in bringing this to market as a retail offering, but for me, my business plan has always been to work B2B and manufacture it and sell.
Got it. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, investors, for all of your feedback. Thank you, Heather, for the pitch. There's one or two questions I think are lingering out there from the Q&A and from that are just kind of noodling around in my own brain as well. And it has to do with the line of questioning Jay just brought up. So, this whole angle right now of sustainability and reusability in products like this, obviously, there could be an opportunity here, but I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit more about your ideas for how to make sure that this aligns with some of those more ethical goals that some businesses might have to make sure that they're being fair to the environment and doing what they can to make sure they're being sustainable.
Absolutely. So for me, it's really important. Obviously, anybody in a position as mine, we have the opportunity to design with sustainability in mind. And so I have been working to design Spoonfuls to enter the circular economy and be reusable. I've come up with this whole, what I call, the Spoonfuls reusable system, in which a brand owner can adopt this and they can have compatible pouches throughout their for say brand say stage 1 and stage 2 baby foods with Spoonfuls on it, but stage 3 and 4 without, but the consumer would have that option to use it throughout. Additionally, pouches are a very sustainable format. They reduce the overall volume by 77%, which in turn reduces your carbon impact. So, there's a lot of great sustainable merits that Spoonfuls has, and I definitely am working hard to meet that industry initiative.
Okay, excellent. And I've got a question here from Robert, who says, Heather, you mentioned a specific volume size for the spoon. How would this apply to over-the-counter pharmacy where dosing would vary not only from product to product, but also having to do with patient age and weight, other variable factors?
So it's actually a very simple solution. You can have within the spoon printed milliliter increments, as well if there is a customer who wants to change the sizing, we can do that. Of course, the molds are very expensive, and that would be up to that customer and tooling that mold. But yes, so it can be dosed that way, just through incremental, amounts in the spoon. So say we start off with 2.5 milliliters because that's really where we start the dosing for infants.
Okay, and would you see this, so one of the things that obviously makes this unique and is a differentiator is that it's a set dose, right? That it's 2.5 milliliters, and that's what sets you apart a little bit. Do you think if you go this route of doing the milliliter lines, that perhaps makes it less advantageous to companies that are worried about dosing problems? Like, do you think that that could potentially hinder the way that you go about this?
I don't believe so. I mean, it's the same way we measure dosage right now. I think that it's very user friendly and very simple. You get it right away. So I think that the user will understand this.
Okay, excellent. And I have just one final question. So at the very beginning of your presentation, you mentioned how, especially in light of what's going on with this current pandemic, that this is a relevant solution. Can you talk a little bit more about interest that's been garnered because of what's been going on the last couple months?
Well, yes. Actually, I'll go to that slide. Oh no, my computer. Oh. So Spoonfuls is a very safe and sterilely processed package. And this is very important to both foods and pharmaceuticals. We have the package itself being sterilized through gamma radiation. It also will be hermetically sealed. And then at the time of processing through an aseptic fill process, it'll be filled through the pouch, the cap, and then capped. And then the entire package will be a sanitary package. So when the consumer buys it, they're receiving a completely sanitary package. It even surrounding the top of the they know and they're confident it hasn't been tampered or doesn't have any kind of issues. It also will have antimicrobial and omniphobic coatings. So it'll be a completely bacteria-free package throughout its useful life. So, and this is really important. I think that the consumer will be trending towards, a safe and, sanitary product and demanding that. I know I will. So.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. All right. Well, Heather, we're going to bring you back on during those last 5 minutes of deliberation when we're pulling the audience. But for now, we're going to thank you again for your presentation. Thank the investors for their feedback and invite Max to come on and pitch. Thank you.
Thanks so much, guys.
All right, Max, it's on you. You've got 5 minutes to pitch, and then we'll be bringing it back on for investor and audience questions and feedback.
Okay, everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
Great. Triple Bristle is an oral healthcare brand undergoing exponential growth. We have the manufacturing in place. We have the team in place, the warehouse, the advertising. There's just one problem. We can sell every single unit that we can get our hands on. You can see what's going on in May. This is going to be our biggest month ever. And that's because we've discovered the secret sauce. We know how to grow and scale in a way that's all in-house and completely predictable. So we are poised for an exit. Here are some comparables. The main ones, Waterpik 2017 was bought by Church & Dwight in 2017 for $1 billion. And then Unilever bought Dollar Shave Club, which wasn't even profitable, for $1 billion as well. Here you can see the projections. This is actually before new money. So this year we're projected to hit just over 6.5 million. And one thing to really notice is the EBITDA goes up and the expenses go down. That's because we have a subscription program where the profitability soars after about 130 days because the margins on the consumables are so high. So let me explain that a little bit. We have 2 sections of the business, one that drives immediate profitability and revenue. This is incredibly important because we're using scalable paid media ads where every dollar we put in increases Amazon and TripleBristle.com revenue and profit. We then take that and we help feed the Triple Bristle Brush Club. The Triple Bristle Brush Club is the long-term value and profitability. So that's a subscription program. People who are skeptical about three-sided brushing, they get the brush for $10. Then they sign up to automatically receive a new brush head every 3 months for that same $10. After 130 days, it's like printing money because the brush head is 65 cents. So currently our CPA is amazing. It's under $13, and we have greater than 80% retention at 90 days. And this is all really a product of my partner's incredible marketing genius. This took a while to get done. This is why the product is needed. The average toothbrush misses 30% of tooth surfaces. So it makes people susceptible to gum disease and cavities. Triple Bristle allows for a better clean in 1/3 the time. It engages the gum line, sweeps away plaque, and it makes perfect brushing automatic. So just so you guys kind of get the idea, the bristles go right, you can see right into that gum line. It brushes the front, the back, the top. So it's making toothbrushing foolproof. And we know that evidence shows most people don't do a great job. And this is one way to solve that issue. We are protected by 2 US patents and a principal registered trademark. That means that the market's protected for the life of the patent. Nobody else can sell our unique 3-sided toothbrush head. These are the existing toothbrushes. Main thing to note, different budgets, families, travelers. This is something that will fit every type of buyer. And then of course the consumables that drive profitability. The one thing to see on the slide, top left, these brush heads are actually compatible with Sonicare. Sonicare has millions of handles already in the world by many consumers. So this is an easy way for a Sonicare user to start using 3-sided brushing. And it's incredibly good for us because of the profitability. Here are replacement brush head sales. You can see May is projected again to be our greatest month ever because we figured out our secret sauce of revenue from single sales as well as our brush club resales. The company is led by Brock Bourne. He was a VP of PepsiCo for South Florida division. He's built and sold 5 separate businesses, and he's doing it again with Triple Bristle, except on a massive scale because we're taking on investment and we're growing like crazy and we're reinvesting all the capital. I am also a big part of the company. I invented the original Triple Bristle. I do all quality control, all new product development. And because I'm a practicing dentist, I actually have a unique insight into the dental community that many others wouldn't. Now, we did put in around $750,000 of our own money. We did do a debt round of 622, and we're currently looking to raise 1.5 million. We don't need any operational money. This is strictly to just buy massive amounts of inventory and be able to spend massive amounts of money on ads because we have the formula and we know exactly what to do in order to grow both of those core business parts. And we're sure that with enough capital, we can grow this company like crazy towards profitability and then make it super appetizing for somebody to acquire. Thank you guys so much. I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Max. We're going to kick things off once again with Jim.
Yeah, thanks, Jasmine. So listen, this is one of those categories, Max, that you kind of look back and you say, wow, why didn't somebody do that before? And frankly, it's also in an area where maybe there's not as much innovation as some other markets. I do have the advantage, as you know, that I've been impressed with your product and been watching. So I've been using the product. I guess the question is a couple of things. One is that, how do you see the novelty, right? The person that kind of uses this because it's new and they'll give it a try versus continued use. You say that you've got 80% retention in 90 days. I asked that in part because, you know, I've tried this, but then after a while I'm like, yeah, but it's just, it doesn't give to me the sense that there's that much of the clean relative to the 30% of the surface that you miss. So are you going to need to have some studies that maybe validate?
So we are in the middle of doing a clinical trial, but the COVID kind of put a little bit of a pause on it. There's plenty of data, and three-sided brushing isn't new. There's plenty of data to back it up. We have people, you know, and I wanted to put some screenshots of our Facebook ads, but there are like raving fan people who, once they try it, will never, ever leave three-sided brushing. And the main reason is they go to their hygienist and they're like, and the hygienist, who usually scolds them, is like, what did you do? So, I mean, you know, kind of getting bored with the product, that could happen. And we're not saying everybody's going to love it. All I'm saying is there's enough people that are going to love it and are going to be pretty much lifelong users, because it's much easier to use this than kind of go through the hassles of extra cleanings and scaling and whatnot. But yeah, the evidence is there. Three-sided brushing has been well studied and documented to especially clean well in the backside of the teeth, where the tongue and the palate are. And that's just, those are just the kind of the facts.
Yep, thank you. So I'll let the others ask their questions, but just so I'm clear, you said that the three-sided brushing is not new. So why aren't there more?
My patent is the combination of a sonic toothbrush with a three-sided brush head. That's the critical component. So I'm combining kind of two really core technologies, sonic vibration and three-sided brushing, into a single product. And that is my argument, you know, the most effective toothbrush there is right now on the planet.
All right, sounds good. Monica?
Hi, Max. So I liked the product yesterday when I looked at it. I'm a fan of this category, and I also believe that it is a ripe for direct response, especially in the existing home health market that will actually take a boom through direct consumer. So I think your timing is very, very good. I have two questions for you. One is, I don't understand at all the subscription model. I enjoy your enthusiasm to how you are, the belief system, but I need to be walked through the value of the subscription model. And then the second is, as an investor, would I be concerned about your ability to manufacture to scale? Because I just want to, you didn't give a great deal of confidence. Is there a challenge to manufacturing at scale, or is it just the finances that are holding you back?
Just the finances. I took out the slide because of time, but we only use really large manufacturers who also manufacture for the major brands. So scalability is not an issue. We have 2 molds already. So if we needed to scale to 100, that we're currently placing orders in the 50,000 units, brush heads in like the 100 to 200,000 units.
So then the value ultimately comes right in the direct consumer model when you
Yes.
get valuations like that. If you look at your examples, right, those are core to direct consumer, built out of a direct response model. You were leaning hard on the subscription-based model. The 2 questions is, can you walk me through the subscription model?
Sure.
And second is, can you tell me whether or not this product stands on its own in retail, which is the next step in order for it to have value without the subscription?
So the subscription model, we realize it's important because we've been running it for about 8 months, and we've seen that people stay on. So after 130 days, they pay $10. We pay a few dollars shipping. We're making $4 to $5 every time we ship that out. And there's an exponential growth. And right now we're feeding the system. So we're actually losing money on the front end. But for example, in June, we're a little bit low on inventory until it comes around, until the new ship arrives, and profitability skyrockets because we have 12,000 users right now who aren't really leaving. 10% are leaving, and they're every 3 months paying $10. So it as long as we can keep that churn low, which is one of our main focuses, it long-term profitability wise, and I'm happy to share like a really complex forecasting tool we're using to show just how dramatic that profitability is. And it ties into that graph I showed.
So then on Amazon right now,
So we also have retail. We are on Amazon and we are on triplebristle.com.
Okay, so you have an auto renew right now on Amazon?
No, we're in the beta, but
Okay.
Amazon like put a stop on everything because of COVID. But my partner did do the subscription portion for that. Just haven't been approved yet.
Got it.
Thank you for your question.
All right, Jay.
Hey, Max. A couple of things. One is a little bit of a feedback. I think on your deck, it'd be great if you began with what the product is first. Usually, like, when you began the deck, like you were going right into exits and, talking about unicorn exits to companies. So that kind of, I think a lot of VCs, when they see that, will be like, okay, where is this going, right? So I think if you begin with the product, and when you got to the product, it was very interesting saying, oh, triple heads, patent, get better clean, probably save time on how much you have to do the brushing as well too. So those things I think you would want to put up in the deck first over there. I was looking at your, some of your products that you have on Amazon, and you have a really good review score over there. So people, definitely like the product. You said your CAC is $13 right now. Is that correct?
Yeah. The cost per customer to get a subscription is around $13. But each purchase is like 1.4 to, depending on the day, to like 1.9 subscribers. In other words, a lot of people won't just buy one subscription; they'll buy two.
But your $13, is that, what is the number on Facebook, for example? If you do Facebook marketing, just that channel, what's the CAC on that one over there?
That's it. We're pretty much, it's a blend of Facebook and Instagram right now. Those are our main channels. Those are it. And our ad spend's about $1,500 a day right now.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, because I know some comparables to Quip and stuff because we looked at this before. So
way higher usually. It's like 25 to 50.
Yeah, so that's why like your CAC is low. So I'm trying to figure out whether it's a blended CAC that's what the number is, or
no, it's just that this is why we're doing it. I think people see it on Facebook, they think it's pretty novel, and they go, $10, I'll try it. And that's the only reason. That's the reason we're pursuing it, is because at this point it's affordable to lose a little bit of money up front.
Got it. Okay. And then what's the breakdown between Amazon sales and your own site? Like what percentage?
Amazon is dramatically higher. Amazon's probably 80%.
80% right 90%. Now.
90%.
So the real goal for you would be to flip that around at some point where 80% of your business is direct to consumer, because that's when, those big companies will say that you have a brand that's, worth getting because you own the channel. Right.
I mean, through our Facebook ads, we're getting comparable sales to Amazon. The issue it becomes, Amazon is dramatically more profitable at this point, because we're just driving straight revenue from Facebook to website. But you're absolutely right. And we want to capture the data, and we want to create the databases of customers, because I think, and the, a good loyal subscription base of 100 to 200,000 users is really what's going to drive company value, in my opinion.
And two other quick questions. What's your return rate?
Well, it's below, it's right around like 4.5%, 5%.
Got it. Okay. One other thing is you might want to, you have enough customers now, you might want to look at getting an NPS score done, because that's usually a benchmark a lot of VCs use as like, hey, what is the satisfaction of consumers to your product? And it's an independent, score. And, we use it quite often in a lot of our direct to consumer companies to gauge how well we're doing.
Thank you. That's a great idea.
That's great feedback, Jay. Jim, Monica, thank you again for all the feedback and the questions. We have Kent coming on in just a second, so I'm going to rapid fire through some of the audience questions for you, Max. So I hope you're ready. First one is a technical one. People are asking, how do they brush their tongue with the triple bristle?
Tongue cleaner included in every box.
Tongue cleaner included. There it is. A package deal. A package deal. Now, obviously, the dental care market is becoming hotter and hotter. There's lots of companies out there that are in the oral care space. You've got someone, you know, Jay mentioned Quip. There's even like the Smile Direct Club, which has been growing quite substantially lately. There's obviously opportunity in this space. You know, how do you differentiate yourself, or how do you perhaps even leverage some of the success that those other direct-to-consumer brands have had in your own marketing or sales efforts?
Yeah, we're kind of seeing what the most predictable channels are, and going forth with those. We're super focused on capital efficiency, which is why we're only online. And we're kind of studying the data every day and seeing where the data leads us.
Okay, excellent. And a little bit about the brush itself. You know, is there a difference between using it without the sonic aspect? Like, is
if
sonic
you're sensitive
really
to vibration, you can certainly, but I think that having the sonic vibration, those pulsating liquids between your teeth, the bristles going in and vibrating, I think, you know, after a few weeks, most people kind of get addicted to the really clean feeling you get.
Okay, excellent. I know that you have a patent for this, but what is the real difference between the sonic care option? Especially being that you're basically telling people to put this on top of their sonic care.
Three-sided brushing is just more predictable. I mean, it's well studied. It's once you get used to it after a few days, the most dramatic benefits are to your gum health, you know, and you know, I implore everybody to go to their hygienist after using this for a few weeks and see what she says, or he.
Okay, excellent. We're going to cap it off there. There was a few more questions. If we can get to them later, we will, or else maybe I'll ask you to answer them via email. We'll share them out with the community. They're a little more about the product itself. That being said, thank you. We'll bring you back on for our closing remarks, and we're going to bring Kent on right now to give us the waft pitch.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you.
Just get my buttons right. Okay.
All right, Ken. So you've got 5 minutes to give your pitch, then we'll hear some feedback.
Okay, 1 second. So it says you cannot share a screen while the other participant is sharing.
Oh, Max, can you stop sharing your screen, please? Cool. Thank you.
There we go. All right, there we go. Okay, great. So fragrance, $73 billion industry, has been severely impacted by COVID. The traditional retail outlets, which fragrance depends upon, have been substantially shut down at this point. You know, customers will go online for their purchases, as with so many other industries, but fragrance has got a particular problem, which is how do you buy a fragrance online? You know, before, the model was you went in to try a fragrance in the physical world, and then the online model was you went and bought the same thing on Amazon or a fragrance retailer. But if you take that physical world experience away, you know, you need a new model in the post-COVID world, and that is waft. So waft is an experience where you go in, you express preferences, as to the type of fragrance that you would like. You tell us what your current go-to fragrance is, and we've categorized all of the fragrances on the market for the family type that they belong to. You then can name the bottle and pick the design, and our algorithm will generate a selection of one of 44 world-class fragrances that have been created by our partner, IFF, International Flavors and Fragrances, which is the largest fragrance manufacturer in the world. We've also reinvented fragrance gifting. If you think about how you give a fragrance right now, your choices are basically to buy what they already have, in which case you're boring, or to try something new, in which case chances are they're not going to like it. The way fragrance gifting works with waft is you go in as the gift giver, You select a label style, you name the fragrance, and you pay for it. The recipient of the fragrance receives an SMS telling them that that you've commissioned a fragrance for them. They click on the link, they go through the journey, and they create their own prepaid fragrance on the online experience. We represent a flip of the way that the perfume industry has existed so far. So far, it's been one size fits all. We're customized. So far, it's been one curated scent. We're lots and lots of options. Typically, it's the brand as hero. Here, it's you as the hero. There's a sort of staged lifestyle quality to existing fragrance advertising. This is more towards authentic and real. One of the things that the online direct-to-consumer model allows us to do is to spend far more than existing brands to create, really high-quality natural ingredients. We spend up to 8 times more for a given fragrance on the product itself than the equivalent price brand would. We have a super efficient model. It's a different product for every customer over and over again, so they can come back and reorder and build a collection rather than simply replenishing the fragrances is the model in the current fragrance industry. Obviously, we can deliver anywhere since we're DTC. And we can scale globally extremely easily by simply sending a small printer and some label paper and a bit of inventory, and then switching it on Facebook and Instagram and Google, and then we're live in that market. So it's highly scalable. What makes the whole thing work is this combination of an extremely low return rate. Because it's fragrance, we don't even ask you to send it back. Perfume is alcohol, it's a dangerous good. So basically, if people call us and they say, I want my money back, say, okay, we'll keep it. We get a 1% to 2% return rate, even based on their not having to do anything in particular to return it. Average customer buys 2.3 purchases in the first 8 months. Lifetime value is $180. The CAC is between $20 and $30. Obviously, the number is a bit volatile in these days, but it's a very efficient model. So just drilling down again on the customer satisfaction side of it, we decided that in order for this model to work, buying a fragrance that you haven't tried before, your first experience has to be amazing. So we went to IFF, which employs the world's leading noses, and we told them no price limit on making the best possible fragrance you can make, which they did. So as I said, we spent 8 times more than equivalent luxury brands on the actual oil itself. Our algorithm is extremely efficient at taking the results of your journey online and then allocating the best fragrance to you, as witnessed by the very low return rate. And because it's purely online, we're able to fulfill rapidly. And we don't have issues of, for example, having to hold inventory across hundreds of stores. It's an extremely efficient model from a capital utilization perspective. So we sit in an interesting space. We're both highly personalized and we have a very high quality, high percentage of quality ingredients. So we have our own sort of white space to explore now. And we want to move the needle from buying branded fragrance from retail stores to making your own custom fragrance. We have explored omni-channel strategies. We're actually live on Macy's right now. We're also live on APHIS. We're live on 1-800-Flowers. But to be honest, we haven't found that to be a really good way to go. And so we refocused on pure DTC online. And when COVID hit, that decision was very much validated. We're profitable, which is a great feeling. And so we're scaling quite rapidly, particularly since COVID. Just to give you as an example, this is April 1st to April 30th. We did 966 orders. We made about $36,000 in net operating profit from that. And then if you go to the next month, we did For half of the month, of the next month, we did 832 orders. And so we're profitable and we're growing, quite rapidly. So what's driving this? Well, one of the big things, post-COVID is that advertising costs are significantly lower than they were. Obviously, they will recover, but we think that's going to take some time. And so obviously that's benefited us very well in the post-COVID world. And then of course, when most of the supply channel for a $70 billion industry essentially shuts down and people go online, they have two choices. They can either price compare on Amazon and buy the cheapest fragrance, or they can go to a fragrance experience online. And in that space, we're pretty much alone.
Thank you.
So what also is driving this, we've been around now for 3 years. We've worked very hard. We've made a lot of the mistakes that it's possible to make. We have a very lean team, extraordinarily lean. At this point, we've given up on the concept of an office, so we all work in a distributed fashion. We have a very desirable product, and the focus on DTC is the conclusion after trying lots of other stuff. So goal for 2020 Q2 is achieving profitability. We've done that. Now what we want to do is expand very rapidly internationally by simply having very low cost distribution in UK, Europe, India, Australia, Canada. We'd like to reach 200 orders per day from about 50 to 70 now. That would give us a $10,000 per day net profit. In Q4, we'd like to do line extensions like candles, further expand internationally, get to 400 orders per day. And also we did something along the way which worked extremely well, but we were going to wait until we got a little bit more money to do it properly, and that's to launch influencer fragrance, which allows any influencer online, as opposed to celebrity, to create their own micro brand on the fly and then sell it to their followers.
You're over your 5 minutes, so I'm gonna have you wrap it up here.
Okay, that's it. That's the last slide.
Just so you know, I didn't realize you were sharing slides. It wasn't showing up on the screen here, so I'm not sure if there was a mishap with your screen sharing. I'm only seeing the original WAF screen. I thought perhaps you wanted to leave this up for your entire chat, so you might want to.
No. That's terrible. Look, I thought I was sharing. There we go. I've been sharing slides all along.
Will you try to advance one just so we can see if it works?
Yeah. Do you see that?
I don't see that, unfortunately.
Hold on. There's a resume share button here. 1 second. Oh, so you didn't see any of the deck? Okay.
Well, maybe Jasmine, we can share Kent's slides by email after.
No problem. Yeah, we can share them in the YouTube video or something. Perhaps you can share one or two if they're relevant to some of the investor questions, but we do need to squeeze in the investor questions now in the next couple of minutes. So I'm gonna jump right into Jim here.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, listen, Kent, I mean, just knowing, kind of the journey that WAFT has been on, I applaud, that you're here and frankly flourishing now, right now. So it's great to see. I guess the question is, to my eye, it does seem like this is where things are going. As you say, Macy's is shut down. It's a $70 billion industry, but retail, is being dramatically diminished. So if others start to follow your model, I mean, obviously you can get acquired, but just from a competitive perspective, we didn't touch too much about, others that have this approach. But if others say, you know what, this WAFT idea, it really makes sense. What does that, you have to pay that much more to get advertising return. How do you see that?
Well, I mean, obviously with perfect hindsight knowledge, anything can be reproduced, anything at all. But what makes it really difficult is bringing all of the pieces together. So if any one piece were missing, for example, if the product weren't of extremely high quality, which means if you didn't have the world's best perfumers operating over a period of a year developing the best fragrance that they could, and you didn't have access to one of the leading perfume houses in the world to do that, then it wouldn't work. If you didn't have a website that wasn't, highly efficient in converting, it wouldn't work. If you didn't have, if you hadn't cracked the sort of the Facebook, Instagram formula through partnership with a company called Magix, which you're familiar with, then it wouldn't work. If you hadn't found the tone of marketing and so on and so forth after trying it, it wouldn't work. So it's when it all comes together that's your real defensibility. It's very easy to put up a website that looks like what you've got, or create fragrances which approximate, but it all needs to come together, and that's what we've done.
Yeah, that's a good answer. By the way, I see that Anna from the council has shared the WAF slides. If you go to the chat, you can see the link for that. Okay, good.
All right, thank you. Monica?
Well, congratulations, Ken, for getting to a state of profitability. I do think the model is a wonderful idea. What I didn't, obviously, because one of you weren't sharing the slides, but the challenge, and just wanted to talk a little bit about is on scale. The idea is great, but it is a very personal journey women go on for scent, and it will be a mind shift change that they'll have to take. That have to take place. So therefore your marketing and how you plan to market is going to be critically important. Mm-hmm. And it seems that, in my opinion, the stepping into the process of being focused in on how do you get them started, either in a more simplistic bundle, is missing, where they can feel confident that these are the scents that they should lean into first, so they feel a little bit more confident, is missing. So I wanted to talk a little bit and ask you a little bit about that. But I also thought experientially, the use of imagery, clearly, that's important. But it just seems to me a little backwards, where we don't, maybe the use of a live chat perfume professional, the idea that there could be potentially a free trial, or just or even how people could potentially gift this. Mm-hmm. Would need a little bit more humanity embedded, because you're taking that piece out, right? Macy's is going to go away, or the counter is going to go away. And it seems to me the opportunity is that you've built the back end, but you haven't created the hook yet. Am I right? And you just didn't get to it, or you haven't tackled that yet, or you just didn't get to it in this presentation?
Well, I don't know. I guess you didn't see my slides. I didn't really drill down on. If you go to the website and go through the journey, go to WAF.com, go through the journey, you get a sense of how engaging it is. I can tell you that we're now 35,000 orders in. We have a 4% conversion rate on mobile. So, it isn't speculation as to whether or not it works. It works. Getting there was the result of reconciling a number of tensions between, for example, how much do you inform people and how much do you drive them towards the sale? How emotional should it be and how factual should it be? How much information do you try and convey, and how in text, and how much, and we've just been optimizing this for the past 3 years. And so the numbers, to my mind, 4% conversion on mobile is pretty good. And so we just, we believe we've arrived there, and that's what's making this work. Obviously, there's a lot more we can do, but I think we've sort of broken the back of the main problem, which is how do you get people to buy when you show them ads, and that's working.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Jay, we're swinging over to you for your question. I'm also going to launch the poll to attendees to vote on their pitch so that we can wrap things up in the next minute or two.
Hey, Ken. We're investors in a couple of skin companies, so we understand the space pretty well. I actually went through the flow first for myself, and then also I tried to create a gift for Jim Gunton called Unicorn, and called Carried Interest as a note. But I think there's a couple of opportunities for you to optimize the flow. So when I went through it for myself, I get, like, I'm making a fragrance for myself. You showed me who my fragrance designer is. but then you say like, what are the things you want? And I kind of said like, wait a minute, am I getting something else, or why are they asking me additional questions, right? So I think making it just more clear that, hey, you get your core fragrance and we're going to send you 2 other fragrances on top of that that you can mix and match. Just getting that right is critical.
Right.
You know, we do tests, we do surveys, we do like, you know, all this entire thing all day long. So we know this one pretty well. Just making it very clear to the consumer is going to be important. And then when you're creating a gift for someone, in one of the flows, you ask for like the phone number. I didn't have Jim Gutton's phone number. I mean, I'm like, but like, why are you asking for their phone number, right? So there was like no logic on like why that was needed. And that's where I dropped off, right? So when giving a gift, you want to make sure, and it could be that, hey, you want to send them a text message saying, what's your mailing address so that we could do XYZ. You know, they sent you a gift called Unicorn, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, just giving a little bit more education, you know, would help quite a lot, I think, with the conversion rate. Those are my 2 points over there. One question for you is, what's your acquisition cost? You did about 900 orders last month. Just wanted to find out what the cost was to acquire them.
It's about $20. And you know, it's changed a lot because actually the CPMs have been relatively volatile, but you know, $20 is about right. 20 to 25.
Got it. Okay. And what are the main channels that you're focusing on?
Facebook, Instagram. We're about to do a big push on YouTube, Gmail, and email is now about 35% of our sales.
And mainly in the US, you're targeting the audience?
Almost exclusively US and Singapore, but Singapore is tiny.
Okay.
We're about to switch on India and the UK.
Got it. No, I mean, this is like a hot space over here, like being fragrances and, you know, skin serums and stuff like that. I think, you know, people are getting used to direct consumer. Customization is going to be big as well too. I definitely think you could probably increase your conversion rate by making some optimizations on the flow, and that could have a good impact over there.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's an ongoing process, but thanks for the feedback.
All right. Thank you, Jay. I'm going to ask Max and Heather to come up on screen as well. And Kent, if you wouldn't mind stopping screen sharing, that would be great, so we can wrap things up here.
Let me see. Let me figure out. I couldn't figure out how to start screen sharing, so let me see if I can figure out how to stop. Hold on.
I can stop it for you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
There it is. All right. Well, now that we have everyone on screen again, I just want to take a moment and thank you all for participating. I know that it's a daunting task, no matter how many times you've done it, to come on screen and pitch and to provide feedback and to pay attention and ask those probing questions and, you know, offer up your time. So thank you all for joining us again. Looks like Kent perhaps had to drop off for a moment, but I'm sure he'll pop back on if he can. Again, thank you all. This is being recorded. It'll be available on njtc.org/startup-showdown later today or tomorrow. And on that website, you'll also be able to find more information about the investors here and the startups. Startups, if you'd like to email me your decks, I can share them, especially you can, so we can get it out to the appropriate folks. Investors here, if you have any interest in connecting with these startups or further, you know, integrating with the NJTC community, just let me know. I'm happy to always make intros and connect here. Those of you that are in the audience, again, you can learn more about the folks on screen here on our website. All of their information is there. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me, jasmine@njtc.org. Want to thank you all again so much for joining us. I know we're a few minutes over here. So without further ado, I'm just going to share that Triple Bristle was the winner of the Audience Choice Award. For those of you that are tuning in, you're going to want to keep that in mind for the next episode, which is June 4th, focusing on B2B and software as a service companies. It might come in handy for a piece of trivia that will be coming all your way. With that said, would love for each of you just to give me a quick little sign off, and we'll let everyone get back to their Thursday afternoon.
Thanks, guys. Had a great time.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.